And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, milk cows, work all day in the fields, milk cows again, eat supper, then go to town and stay past midnight at a meeting of the school board. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to sit up all night with a newborn colt and watch it die, and dry his eyes and say, maybe next year. I need somebody who can shape an axe handle from a persimmon sprout, shoe a horse with a hunk of car tire, who can make harness out of hay, wire, feed sacks, and shoe scraps, who planting time and harvest season will finish his 40-hour week by Tuesday noon, and then painting from tractor back put in another 72 hours. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody strong enough to clear trees and heave bales, yet gentle enough to yean lambs and wean pigs and tend the pink-combed pullets, who will stop his mower for an hour to splint the broken leg of a meadowlark. So God made a farmer. It had to be somebody who'd plow deep and straight and not cut corners, somebody to seed, weed, feed, breed, and rake and disc and plow and plant and tie the fleece and strain the milk, somebody who'd bail a family together with the soft, strong bonds of sharing, who would laugh and then sigh and then reply with smiling eyes when his son says that he wants to spend his life doing what Dad does. So God made a farmer.
Ready, Push Scholars, Mr. Beamer here, and welcome to another video. We wanted to thank that intro from Paul Harvey. It actually came from a Super Bowl commercial as well, like in 2013. Paul Harvey is one of the most famous radio voices in American history, and that just fires me up, shows respect, honor to the American farmer. And so this is what the last half of chapter 27 is about, and it's really about the struggles that the farmers faced, especially during the late 1800s, and how they try to respond to these struggles. All right, so we're going to start on page 616, and the section is Deflation Dooms the Debtor. And so we'll start here with this first bullet. So in the 1880s, when the world markets rebounded and produced more crops, so when the economy picked up in the 1880s around the world, unfortunately for American farmers, crop prices began to fall, and farmers in America struggled. And I think an important thing you need to know right now is that farmers want higher crop prices. Okay, they want higher prices, and they really should not overproduce their product. Okay, if they overproduce their crops, prices will fall, and it's going to hurt them. So honestly, it's basic economics. When the supply goes up of crops, the price is going to fall. It's going to hurt the farmer, especially when they're deep in debt to the bankers. We're going to talk much more about this later in this chapter, into chapter 28. But the farmers were often in debt. It was just difficult livelihoods for them. But what they wanted is more money in circulation. Okay, so think about it. Would they want soft money or hard money policy? Farmers were for a soft money policy, more money in circulation, more greenbacks, more silver, because if there's more money in circulation, inflation goes up, prices rise, and that helps the farmer. All right, so this time period, the late 1880s, early 1890s, so towards the tail end of the Gilded Age, out west especially in the Great Plains, the farmers really struggled. Okay, they faced many problems, droughts, grasshopper plagues, which I'm not even going to go there, it just sounds bad in itself. Heat waves made conditions for the farmers miserable. It was awful. I think out of all these things, the droughts were very difficult to overcome. And so, not helping the cause of the farmer were city, state, and federal government. Many times the taxes were relatively high or high for the farmers. And so not only did they owe money to the bankers, but they also still had to pay taxes. So the farmers really struggled in the late 1800s. All right, I'm going to pause you right now and tell you the biggest problem with the farmers, the people that they despise the most. The banks were second, but number one was the railroad. The railroad harassed the farmer, treated the farmers very unfair, and the farmers, unfortunately, were at the mercy of the railroad because they had to sell their crops back east, and the only way to get it there was by sending them on the railroads. And these people were bad people. Why were you so bad? They were corrupt. They hurt the farmer. So, unfortunately, the farmers struggled, and they did not form unions to fight back. They did not try to organize. But in the late 1870s and the 1880s, they started to do a little bit more to fight back, especially against the railroad. Okay, so we're going to talk about three major farmer organizations during the late 1800s where the farmers decide to come together and try to fight off the people that treated them poorly, especially the railroads. The first organization was called the Grange Movement. Okay, in 1867, this is when this movement begins. They continued until the 1870s, 1880s. So the Grange Movement, you must highlight them. Oliver Kelly was the leader of the Grange Movement in America. And what did they want? The Grange Movement was for the farmers, and their goal was to improve the lives of the farmers through social, educational, and fraternal activities. So they just wanted a way for the farmers to talk to each other, to communicate, to try to have agreements with each other, just so they could try to improve their lives. Because farming is a very isolated individual life, but the Grange tried to bring the farmers together to basically form a team to help each other out. All right, check out this picture right here. Where is this? We're in Kansas? Is this in Nebraska? Where is this Grange? Where's this building? It's in Hudsonville. Yes, it's on Fillmore. No, I lied. It's on Bauer by 36th Avenue, north of Baldwin Street Middle School. There's this building here that says the Grange on it. Look at the year. Oh my goodness, history is all around us. All right, the Grange is a must know. Also, I wanted to just point, and I would highlight this group. This is not a farmers organization. This was just a general organization, political party, minor political party called the Greenback Labor Party. Now, when you see the word labor, you think of factory workers especially, but a lot of the farmers definitely did try to be a part of, or they're definitely interested in the Greenback Labor Party. And again, the Greenback Party, they want to put more money in circulation to cause higher inflation, more like cash dollars, and that would really help the farmer drive up prices. All right, in 1880, James B. Weaver, I would highlight him, we'll get to him later, but he runs for president from the Greenback Labor Party. He got 3% of the total votes. That's not too bad for a third-party candidate. So the Greenback Labor Party was mildly successful in getting attention in the late 1870s and the early 1880s. All right, so the first major farm organization is the Grange, 1870s into early 1880s, and then another one takes its place and is even better, even more powerful, more stronger, and that is the Farmers Alliance. Highlight this group of the late 1870s into the late 1880s. For about 10 to 15 years, this farmer organization is even more successful than the Grange, and this is what they wanted. Okay, they were going to bring the farmers together, a coalition of farmers, and they tried to challenge their two hated rivals, the people they despised the most, the bankers and the railroad. And so the Farmers Alliance was rather successful in achieving some goals. And here's some of the things that the Farmers Alliance wanted. Number one is the Farmers Alliance wanted nationalization of the railroad. What does that mean, Beamer? Well, what that means is they want the federal government to take over the railroad industry, okay? Because they felt the railroad companies were in the hands of big business and they were exploiting and hurting the farmer. If the government's in charge, that's going to help the farmers out. They wanted the abolition of all national banks, okay? Especially the banks, the big banks back east. They wanted local state banks to be in charge because they felt the state bankers treated the farmers better. They also wanted a graduated income tax. What does that mean? Well, the more money you make, the higher percentage you are taxed. Okay, it's also called a progressive income tax. So they felt the farmers, this would help society in general by making the very wealthy, the Carnegies and Rockefellers, pay more tax money, which could help overall the economy and also help run the railroad industry. Okay, they also wanted another sub-treasury or a department of the government for the farmers as well. Okay, so these are some of the key goals that the Farmers Alliance wanted. And so by 1890, another organization is going to kind of take over the ideas of the Farmers Alliance. So many of these people and many of the Grange people would have come together and form the Populists. And we'll really highlight them in Chapter 28. But I would highlight them. They're a must-know. This political organization, also called the People's Party, they were the most successful group representing the farmers. It's a must-know. And really they come into existence around 1890. There's that here again, Beamer, 1890. And they last for about 5 or 6 years. But they're very successful and very powerful. And two people that really are the leading populists, Ignatius Donnelly, what a sweet name. And one of my favorite people all time in history, love her, Mary Elizabeth Lease. Oh my, are you kidding me? Yes, I am not kidding. I love her. Guess what she said? She said that people in Kansas and farmers should raise less corn and more hell. What? This woman had a strong mouth. Okay, what I mean by that is she could talk like no other. Okay, she was a great speaker and she was loud and charismatic and she got people fired up and she was one of the leading populists. Mary Elizabeth Lease, she's a must-know in A-Push. And this quote, what does it mean? Well, if they produce less corn, that's going to help the farmer because prices should rise. And then more how, let's get it done in politics. Let's tell the government we're unhappy. And let's make changes. Mary Elizabeth Lease, you fire me up. And lastly, that's no pun intended.